working on Is That You Yh?
Hi, my name is Antonia. I'm also working on Is That U Yh, and I'm one of the cast members.
Hey, I'm Seraphina. I'm working on Rep, and I am one of the cast members.
Hi, I'm Toby, and I'm working on Rep, and I wrote and am directing the piece.
I've got questions. So, like,
Straight in.
Is That You Yh? Yeah. What's it about?
Is That You Yh, in simple terms, is about 4 young girls in South London. But it's also about journeying back to like school times and, you know, and us not realizing that we're actually in good times when we're in school. We got no responsibilities, no bills, no rent. Everyone's just having a good time, you know, but we're also so quick to grow up when we're younger. You're always trying to hit 16, hit 18, hit 21. And then now when you get to them ages, you're like, bro, we had some good times back then. When we were just rolling through South, hanging with our friends, cracking joke, you know, getting our first crushes, making up dances in the playground, doing sleepovers, water fights.
All that, yeah.
All that, playing with things like Tamagotchis and alien babies, like.
What's the alien babies?
And what's that? What's the one? Not Victoria's Secret. The cheap one.
I mean,
And there's the red, the blue.
Charlie Red and Charlie Blue. That's literally what Is That.
Yeah.
Is That You is taking you back into time to like.
do you have like the lollipops in the hair?
Girl, we got lollipops.
And then the slick to the back with the stars, the Just Do It bag and the roll up skirt and the sovereign ring on it.
The diamantes in your teeth.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
It's
what
also,
is
what
that.
I
Yeah.
want to say about the show is it's also, obviously we've all grown up now and we've seen how the world changes, but you don't have a concept of how much the world changes when you're in that state and you think the world will stay the same.
Yeah.
So it's also a homage to what the world was at that time. The
Yeah.
artists, the way the world looked, you know, the way art was being produced. It's all of that stuff, you know, so yeah, that's something to think
I
about.
like it, homage.
So how does the choreography sort of intertwine with that?
Oh, okay, so choreography has been quite interesting because, so for 2 reasons. It's interesting for me because I've got to honour a lot of the things that influenced me when I was growing up. So it's sort of, there's things that I saw and they were like things that shaped me and made me want to go into art that now I get to pay homage to. So it's like, yeah, there's from like Missy Elliott videos like music makes you lose control to Britney Spears Slave for You, and you're seeing this stuff and it's informing you as an artist. You're like, oh, that's sick, that's amazing. I'd love to be a part of it or to work on that. And then you sort of grow up and get to work on that, even though you didn't work on it in the way in which you thought you might. So that's one way which is interesting. Another way which is interesting is because the way we put things together musically and the way we've actually created music, like there's, I can't ruin it. There's, you know, the moment.
The moment.
I can't ruin it.
Moment.
But there's certain things that you'll see in the show and you're gonna be like, oh my God, I used to do that. That's sick. That sort of relate to the way we were expressing ourselves artistically as kids and not even being aware of it.
Yeah.
So it's the choreography is interesting. I'd say it also is nostalgic, and it honors the artists of the time, like B2K, them people there, fundamental. Just there's so much richness in Black British culture. I think I'm going on and on and on.
No,
but I feel like
continue.
at the time, I don't think we really understood that we had and was creating Black British culture because we were always looking at African Americans. And that was the staple of what Black culture was in our imagination. But the reality is that we were creating Black British culture using things from all of the diaspora. African American stuff. We're taking stuff from West Africa, from all of Africa, from all of the Caribbean and mixing all of it together. And then plus doing our own thing with it. So it's like, yeah, man.
I feel like I'm going to see International Day when I watch the show.
No, but you're not. But then you are, but you're not.
Okay.
Does that?
I know what you mean.
But yeah. International, you should look at that. Do you remember that?
So I just gave you a little. Anyway. Yeah. So like International Day was literally just like bringing up bare different cultures in school, food, like, and there was always a group of girls that did like a routine of like the really coolest like song at the time, but they were like really going for it. I was one of those girls.
Wow.
So like,
Yeah.
so it's like you're kind of giving me that kind of nostalgic joy of like, yeah, it's gonna be like some of us can't do it, some of us can do it, but you committed to the movement.
Yeah.
So let's talk about rap.
So what's rap about?
Oh, do you wanna? I will. Rap.
I want you to.
I'm going to. I know what rap is about. Rap is basically about a group of young offenders that are on this course, like this, essentially like drama course, like taking, like this drama course to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're doing the course to make up for the offences that they have done. And it's this kind of like connecting of so many different people from very similar backgrounds and very different backgrounds in this space because of the creation of arts and the kind of release of arts in a very minor way, in a very major way, and just seeing what 4 weeks of that looks like. Yeah.
That was beautifully done.
That's how I kind of.
I like when people describe plays. It sounds like us.
He wrote it. Did you know that?
But that was beautiful. It was nice. It's all basically part of their. It's called a YRO, like a youth rehabilitation order. So they all have to be there as part of the offence that they committed, and very different levels of offences as well. And it's a really special play to me because I originally devised it with Theatre Peckham Rep Company. I was there for a couple of years as the res director. But then COVID hit, and so we only we all know that. And there was only, so we had 1 day of devising, then we had to shut it down. Yeah, so basically day one of the play is pretty much the large of that was all devised by the cast. They explored a lot of the characters together with, we were from before that, but then we only got to devise 1 day of the play, and then I spent all of COVID writing it and doing that at the same time. I was looking after my son was with me full time, so I was sort of writing in the morning. We was doing homework, and so it's a really special play. And then we were supposed to do it at a venue, and then it got shut down because of COVID again. So it's become so this is really it's a special one for me, and it's based quite largely on my experience of working with young offenders. I did it for a number of years. So I worked in creative learning for 15 years, I think, for different organisations. Like Lyric Hammersmith, National Youth Theatre, so a lot of the characters have been pulled from all of those venues that I was very blessed to work with, and all the young companies I've been very blessed to work with, and the individuals I've been blessed to work with, because Seraphina and I, we go way back, mate.
Young company.
Yeah, there you go.
They're literally 12. I was 16, 17.
No, you weren't.
I was younger.
Yeah.
I think that's what I love a lot about rep, especially like I'm playing a character so different to who I am as a person. Just because of the nature of what this specific play is dealing with young offenders. I had the privilege of obviously entering the world of acting through when it was Oval House, their young company, and they had a festival called 33%, and that was my kind of introduction to like the madness that is creating and artistry, and this little kind of group of people that became my family in the young company and just in the theatre at large, and just kind of for me what just especially like with the young offenders kind of aspect is like just how art really breaks down so many barriers and how much it's taken for granted, the healing that can take place, the realizations, the confidence, the madness. And I think especially the way how the world is now post-COVID, and it's this whole like doing me attitude. Basically we're doing YOLO right now, and we just forget about our fellow man, our fellow neighbor. So I think for me it's been really nice to kind of almost weirdly jump back in time into an alternative version of my younger self, or just other people I saw around me. Because I've done like multiple kind of youth programs as well with Toby. Like, you did NYT, right? I did NYT. I did the Playing Up Company. So it's like having those like weird little flashbacks at moments in the play, like literally playing a game of like War or Foursquare, and just being like, oh my gosh, like that was just a moment of pure joy for me back in the day, and we're being able to like bring those nuggets of like pure joy but really tackle with like some hard hitting topics that would probably go over most people's heads. Last point, I think that's the nature of it. I really enjoy. It's like it will like it pays homage to the part of art and creating that most people never care about. Most people would neglect. And I think it's the birth of so many of our creatives that we love and adore. But it's never given the respect.
Or funding.
And
It's
funding
not
it
appropriately
deserves.
funded either. And that happened in COVID. A lot of the funding got moved towards the creative learning departments. Then as soon as we were back out of our houses, it just went right back into professional work again. I think it's just not enough weight is put on how much we learned from working in the creative youth sector, as a practitioner as well as a participant. I've also did youth companies, not in London, but there's something really full circle about this play, which is lovely because we met at Oval House. I don't know if you know, I'm sure you know the history of the build. Obviously, Brixton House used to be Oval House, and that's where we met as well. And I was there for 10 years, so to be welcomed back into this building feels very touching as well. Just feels very fitting, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I was really keen to get Seraphina and Jamal's in it as well, and Jamal started in Oval House as well.
Yeah, we were in the same youth company.
To get the two of them back in the space and working together has been in this building feels very fitting and lovely, actually.
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, what is the zeitgeist of the time? We've got two writers that have never met each other, that are both telling stories about a time that has gone by.
Yeah.
Around the same kind of age. I'm assuming that these are like 16, 15-year-olds. And that's where we go back to. So I'm thinking, what is in the mass conscious right now?
Yeah.
In which all of the artists, or, well, not all of them,
But
there was like two artists from two complete different spaces that haven't met saying, that was sick, or we need to look at things there because it brought us together.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
That's and also the characters, I know a lot of the characters in our play are based on real people. Our play is written by DK Fashola, genius of a human being, so amazingly talented. I will never stop singing her praises because she's phenomenal. And a lot of these characters she knows these people, they're her friends. And it's so interesting when you said as well that these characters in your play as well are created by, people that you've met and that you've worked with. So that's very interesting, just going off that point.
It brings an authenticity.
Probably it's what we're just craving, just like in a creative sense, and just what you want to kind of be filled up with your escapism. I think we're tired of like escapism. I'm gonna shade Marvel. I think we're tired of Marvel. I shaded it. I did it, and I'm proud.
Wait. We have to clarify. Do you mean, we have to clarify. We have to clarify. Wait. Do you mean Marvel Cinematic Universe or Marvel Comics?
No, cinematic.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
I know that is okay. I just want clarification.
Right. No, but I think we're just getting a bit of like over imaginative escapism fatigue. We are getting that. I think there's just only so many times you can kind of suspend your belief in what you're seeing on screen. So like there is something beautiful in that with, again, because I had no clue what your play was about, but it's like grounded in the reality of what we experience in our own personal kind of like development and growth as human beings, as people. And I think there's something just real, just authentic about it, and probably what we are craving to see right now, and especially on stage. Let's do it. I'm game.
I've got two questions. In terms of style, how are you going to present your piece?
That's a good question.
So I'm naturalism. I'm all about truth. So I work as an acting coach as well. So I've done that for a few years also. So it's like, so I'm all about just truth on stage. I get pretty, again, I'm not going to out Marvel in the way you've outed me. I'm not going to out anybody's. I'm not going to get specific, but it's like, in terms of personal taste, I get a bit tired of going to see shows that have too much theatricality to it. And I think particularly, youth theatre has a negative connotation because of that as well. It's like, and some organisations are slightly guilty of just has to be big and has to be loud because they're young, and you can just see some people's presentation of young people. It's like, actually, no, actually, young people, young artists are also artists and want to actually get, create good, solid, authentic and sensitive work as well. And like I said, it does come down to taste, but also it's like, I know wonderful practitioners, some of which I've mentored or worked with or collaborate with, who do that really, who have what I call incredible faith in theatre and find something really quite large scale and epic to it. And sometimes I love going to see those shows, but in terms of my own work, it's always about truth. And what's really nice about the venue, when I put the application in for the Housemates, I was like, I don't want the theatre, I want it to be in a studio. So I want it to feel intimate, and so it feels like, I was chatting to an actor downstairs, we were saying, it's going to feel so inclusive because the audience are right there, and so consequently the acting, although we've got to think about our vocal levels obviously, but also it's like it feels very intimate because of the space itself, and so consequently you're in that space with them. So stylistically it's just pure naturalism, and for me, but all of my work is sort of in that realm. We collaborated on a show last year. It was very much about that. Again, it's at the Broccoli Jack, very small theatre, and for me, it's just always about truth, man, and just finding the authenticity and and realism of it. But there's some music featuring as well in it. Most of the music's composed by my cousin, who we sadly lost to suicide a couple of years ago in COVID, so another reason why this piece is really important as well. So the music features, so there's transitional, I guess, leaning more into theatrical moments within the transitions and music coming in, but the scenes themselves, it doesn't really delve into the abstract at all. It just sort of stays in these are real people in a real room, in a real studio, going through a real, YRO, and exploring the trials and tribulations, but also joys and humour of that as well. There's a lot of it, we're laughing a lot as well, so.
These kids are problematic. No, I was just saying these kids are problematic.
They got challenges, man.
And then my second question was about the size of your cast. I don't know how they funded that, but
It's 11. It's 11 of us. Do you know? It's 11 of us. I think I was actually even just saying today, I think what actually, because we're today's Friday, we're the end of week 1. What's been a great joy is some of the cast have previously done it before, worked with Toby on Rep before, and some of us are new into it. So it's kind of like you have that nice, perfect balance of people that kind of really know what to do, and helping the rest of us kind of like find our feet, as much as we're trying to find our own kind of natural truth to the characters that we're portraying now. There's this perfect collaboration where it doesn't feel like all of us are sinking at the same time. So if like other people are like doing Olympic swim, so they're just dragging the rest of us, and then tomorrow I might be doing Olympic swim, and so it's very ensemble. It's literally just an ensemble. For me, the rehearsal process so far has felt just so true to the kind of ensemble element, and I feel like if I do speak beforehand, I feel like you will feel that. You'll very much feel that on stage, and I think it's a testament to Toby's writing as well. It's just like we're just allowed to just have our like little asides and our little moments. It's just so like true to like what a youth company or a young offenders kind of program is. So it doesn't feel like this is a version of young people with 11 of them, and you have to get to know every single one of them in like the morning and the evening. It's like, no, this is what it's like to take care of a group of young people and try to help out their future, which is nicely aided with the intimacy of the space.
Yeah, I think so. I don't subscribe to hierarchy in every sense of the word, but obviously in sort of, I guess, in a rehearsal process. This idea of director, it's just not really me. And and sometimes it's like I feel that I can just be another voice in the room, and if there's obviously healthy disagreement, there has to be a point where the director, you have to sort of say we have to go with this, because you can't tell two different plays, you can't tell two different stories. But ultimately, it's like I'm going to learn so much from the cast, more than I will ever know. And so who am I to come into space and say this is what this character is, and so I haven't got that lived experience at all. So it's like it really comes from that, but that obviously presents itself quite challenges as well, because there are 11 of them and all very talented and all at the top of their game as well, and all willing to express their opinions and views on what the play's about, what the character and so on and so forth. What's your process been in terms of collaboration? Was the play already written when you came into the room, or?
Yes. It started off as a 20-minute piece.
Wait. Go back one more step.
Alpha.
So, wait, I'll
You
let
go.
I'll let you land.
No, you
so
start,
It
and I'll-
started
Yeah.
as a video, a filmed video,
Thank you.
predominantly physical theatre and dance
Yeah.
that we created during COVID. We were supposed to have a live outcome, but obviously this wasn't a possibility because COVID did COVID. And essentially we were like, let's make a film. So DK made a film for Is That U Yh? And then off the basis of that piece of movement and choreography, we then had the 20-minute outcome, which is a theatrical piece. And then I'll let you know.
So then part 2 was the 20-minute outdoor show, which was a mixture of obviously acting, dancing, movement. But I'm trying to remember now, did we devise it?
Yeah.
It was part written, part devised.
Yeah.
And then, now it's in Housemates Festival. Now it's, about an hour. So the beauty about DK's work, and something that you mentioned as well, like in the space, she wrote it and she's directing it, but there are moments where she's like, this is the scene, offer. She's like, I did my job, I wrote it. Now, give us some extra, like it's really nice in that, we're able to play. And even there's some moments where she's just like, go ahead. And obviously then it's about tweaking it and okay, let's do this and let's do that. And it's like, oh, I love that. And sometimes you just do something naturally. She's like, that's so funny, keep that in. Or that's brilliant. And then she'll be like, write that down. Like put that in the text, So that is, it's fun and it's a great room to be free.
I was going to say, great to have that freedom as artists, right? And not have to be prescribed all the time about being limited.
But it's so interesting because in the same breath, the play DK's work is it has a rhythm. So you have to make sure as well that even within your play, you still have to make sure you catch the rhythm. Honor the rhythm, and because that keeps, because that's what helps take the audience on the journey. And our play is very much not as what's the word? Naturalist. It's not naturalistic. It's very opposite.
Opposite of naturalism, even to the point.
I tried to do it
if
soft.
it's too natural,
It's very.
we're not doing that.
Literally. She said it's too natural.
So rooted in physical theatre. What's abstract, in terms of finding authenticity in what's abstract for the truth of the character or for the truth of the emotional experience. Also as well as a homage to black culture and many different cultures within black culture, it's about taking things from gesture. So in terms of like the scale of an impulse, you can be on a 10. Like auntie will be in the shop doing whatever or talking to you, or like a Caribbean mum will be expressing something, and the size, even how I'm expressing myself now, size of my gesture. If you saw it on stage, someone could say, this is not real, but in the context of our world, it's
real,
100% authentic. Like the truth of it is there. So I think we're always going for truth, but the presentation of it might not be what we see as naturalism. So it's not realism and it's not naturalism, but it's always authentic, and we always aim for an authenticity that is just what DK wants in the room. But it's the complete opposite. Movements there, which you said, and I think in terms of our devising process, so much of it is based on play. But it's always based off of a response to something that we've done in research. And that's very important. It's never random, even if its presentation in the show may appear random to the audience. It's never random. It's always a response from. That's it.
So I'm coming to see yours.
100%.
It sounds wicked. Right up my street, man. Right up my street.
I can't wait to be immersed in yours. Like I feel like we'll feel it in our skin. I don't know how else to describe that. Do you know what I mean? You're just gonna be so in it. And I'm very excited.
When are the dates?
Oh yes, we are on from the 6th to the 8th of July.
That's right.
No.
Matinees and
evenings.
Couple of matinee. One matinee, couple and a few evenings. What about you guys?
We are on from the 4th to the 8th, and we have a matinee on the Saturday. I hope that's right.
It's right. Don't worry, it's right. Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like I should shake your hands.
I just want to say, I'm glad that we are here, that we got funded,
Yeah.
and we get to share our stories because some people didn't.
Yeah.
I assume I might have made that up. Anyways, but yeah, we have been given
We
this
are grateful,
opportunity, this platform to share what we're sharing in two complete different forms. But then there's so many similarities, so that's great.
It's a true blessing.
Thanks for the convo. It's nice to like sit and chat.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was actually a bit nervous, actually. It's been pretty chill.
Easy measy.
Please, any rubbish that we've spoken to us.
Sorry.
Make us look
Figure it out.
smart.
That's